Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Over Coffee.
You're Jeremy.
Yeah, and you're Jib.
Yeah,
So that's a way to start a podcast, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
I should be asking you that question.
I know, but I wanted to ask you
Well, you're the
because
host
I
now.
told you,
Yeah.
and you should know.
So what's the first topic that we forgot? Last week we were talking about
Yeah,
right
so-
to repair.
Yeah. So right to repair, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a very important aspect of tech and actual just day-to-day maintenance, and really our like modern life has gotten away from actually fixing things.
Yeah,
Right.
And it has, it doesn't even have to do with tech in it necessarily. It's just a whole big industry, actually.
Just basically everything. Like
Anything that's mechanical or moves or doesn't even have to
no,
move.
almost anything. Like
Yeah.
literally anything that you buy
Your table.
in your day-to-day life can break
Yeah.
and needs to be able to be fixed,
And
right?
you can either do that yourself or seek a professional to do that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And there are people out there that fix certain
Mm-hmm.
things, right? And depending on the object, right? Some things aren't worth it to be fixed because they're either too cheap or sometimes
expensive.
too expensive, right? But when you're talking about right to repair, it's really specifically not about like your ability to fix something, but it's about like companies preventing you from actually being able to do it.
You actually withholding your actual right to repair something
Right.
that you've bought.
Making it literally impossible,
Yeah.
not like too hard or too expensive or whatever else, but just like you can't get the components or the parts required to actually do the fix.
Yeah.
And that's like from automotive to electronics to like, clothes and,
To your
and furniture.
your washing machine, your phone, your car, literally anything that you can name.
Yeah.
You can have at least some choice in which you can repair, not replace, because in a lot of cases it's significantly cheaper to repair it than it is to replace.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes along with what we're going to be talking about here in a second. Is like, while it may be cheaper to repair something that's broken, how can we get as much money as possible out of repairing that?
And it's also kind of about sustainability too,
Yep.
right? Because you can't just make something, throw it away, and like our disposable culture has kind of been a sticking point with a lot of this because there's waste involved in a lot of that, and it's not helped when you have companies that are actively working against your ability to do that, preventing you from buying parts or requiring you to not fix it yourself because that could void warranties or prevent you from getting service
They
in the
just
future.
simply won't let you in some cases,
Like, have you ever seen the stickers on like a piece of electronics or something like that? That's like a warranty void if removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
void if removed, yeah.
That's not legal in the United States. Like
not-
that, you can't actually do that.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. So if you take that sticker off, they're still supposed to fix it, warranty work on it. Just because you take off a sticker doesn't mean that you like broke the thing.
That's because you paid for that warranty, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are actual laws in the United States. There's the Magnuson-Moss Act,
Yep.
which means that you can actually make modifications, you can change things on stuff. And
Oh, I've heard about that one before. That's
yeah,
that's how a lot of people mod some of their stuff without voiding warranties.
yeah, right. And it's
Yeah.
because the manufacturers have to prove that whatever you did to it actually broke it.
Yeah.
And often cases they can't because it broke because of their thing, not because of
Not
yours.
because of you, because you made it better, and then making it worse.
Right. Yeah. So in particular, we wanted to talk about McDonald's.
Yeah,
Because
which is something we forgot to talk about last week.
yeah, right.
We had a lot of interesting topics. So.
Yeah, switching up the podcast, having somebody new to talk with. Sometimes we're not all on point.
No.
We had somebody for that, but let's not worry about
Yeah,
that
we
now.
kind of pushed him to the
Yeah,
side.
said, hey,
get out of here.
We don't need you. We don't need your timers. We've
No.
got this. So McDonald's. Everyone understands and knows that McDonald's has an issue with their ice cream machines. It's
Everybody
so
who has ever
common.
visited McDonald's and wanted an ice cream cone knows
at any point.
they don't have ice cream machines.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't work.
It's broken.
It's always broken.
It's always broken.
That's a law in science.
Yeah.
You look under Newton's laws, and it's like 15th law is McDonald's machines are always broken.
or it has to do with a deal that McDonald's has made with a particular company that makes these ice cream machines.
Because
And
McDonald's doesn't actually build them themselves.
yeah, right. Because McDonald's is actually just this big real estate company that like owns buildings and land and just kind of franchises stuff out. And as part of that, they make these deals on what equipment you have to use. And one of those pieces of equipment are the Taylor ice cream machines.
Yeah.
Now, these ice cream machines are notorious for their finickiness. to say-
Non-reliability.
Non-reliability.
Yeah.
And it's
Unreliability.
non-reliability, unreliability. Yeah, you're splitting hairs, right? Come on, work with me here. So, work with me, not like the Taylor guys at
Unlike the
McDonald's.
ice cream machines.
Yeah,
Yep.
those don't work. And it's just because of the way that they have the like maintenancing procedures set up. You basically don't have real access to troubleshooting tips. You have to call them, and they have to tell you what to do and charge you for it.
The people at McDonald's can't repair the machine themselves. They
Because
have
if
to,
they do, it actually voids their warranty, and then
oh no, we go full circle again. Here's the
Yeah.
warranty again. It's
Right,
like you
yeah.
can't repair your own machines. You have to call us to specifically repair it for you.
yeah.
So you're just at the end of the day spending more money than you have to.
And that's where Taylor makes all of their money, basically. It's not really from selling these machines. It's from designing them in a way that people can't fix them and that you have to depend on them to get it done. Because you
That's-
can't get parts elsewhere, and you can't do even simple troubleshooting techniques because they've made it impossible to do.
That's called the infamous planned obsolescence. So yeah.
Yeah. You're actually creating a product and designing it to fail so that the customer is forced to spend more money.
Yeah, that's a wonderful business. If Dave were here, he would call it a wonderful business tactic. But in my opinion, it's just
It's really not, though.
it's in
because
spite against the consumer.
It's also really short term.
Yeah.
Because like you make your money maybe once, maybe twice, and eventually you lose the customer entirely. I mean, Apple is actually another company that has a lot of right to repair issues where they make their phones, their laptops, their computers more difficult to service than they actually need to be.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, they're probably one of the like super simple devices. They make it significantly more technical than they have to be
And they
in
try to-
order to get people to buy
Yeah.
and repair and buy and repair and over and over again. They
and
make
get stuck in that ecosystem of
they
just buying, repairing, and just swapping it out every 2 years.
and they make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah. I mean, isn't Apple like a trillion-dollar, multi-trillion-dollar company
It's
at
like
this point?
it's like Fortune 500 at this point.
Yeah, they're big time money, making a lot of money from just
Doing that.
swap the phone. It's like you break your screen, well, just get a new one, right? And that's part of that is making their stuff proprietary. Using chips and pieces that you can't get anywhere else, and then they make deals where you can't get those chips. And even proprietary down to like the ports and plugs. It's
Absolutely.
another topic I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about.
Have you ever like we have a Mac keyboard in our office, right?
Oh.
And it's the kind of bus that's on the port is USB. But it's designed in a way where you can't plug it in a USB port because there's these little tabs on the metal, and so you have to plug it into an adapter that you have to buy to actually make it go from their proprietary like plug to USB. Even though at the end of the day they're still both USB.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
It's
That's
so
crazy.
annoying.
So it's just like, and it's just a little piece of metal. Can you just snip it out and then it'll work fine?
I'm pretty sure you could, yeah.
That's the type of stuff that I would do.
It absolutely-
and that would definitely void your warranty.
But that's kind of the ways that they go in order to get people to buy this little like adapter thing on your keyboard.
Well, because then if your MacBook has these notches in the plugs, then you have to use their special notched thing, right?
That's 20 more bucks that you didn't need. Yep.
The UK government didn't like that though,
Absolutely.
and just
Is it UK or EU?
UK, EU, was it the EU?
The European Union. And then
It
you
was.
have the
I think it
United
was the
Kingdom.
EU.
It
Actually,
was the.
it wasn't the UK because I guess the UK probably doesn't care.
Oh yeah, UK kind of
They did their whole Brexit.
they
thing,
got
didn't
Brexit thing. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
that's not our podcast.
That's
topic.
that's the politics and coffee podcast, and we're not part of that one.
Yeah. This is Tech Over Coffee.
But we do politics adjacent things
Yeah.
sometimes, and this one is
Definitely in that area.
tech related, being like, put out that basically they're going to standardize their phone connections to be USB-C. So all new cell phones in the EU, I guess we're assuming that it's the EU. here.
European Union, we'll just run with it.
So they're going to switch over to all USB-C, which affects basically only one phone company.
And that's Apple.
That's Apple.
That's the only other phone company that makes a proprietary phone connector is
Which,
Apple.
I guess technically it also gets rid of like micro USB. If there were phones still being made with micro USB.
But I mean, at the end of the day, USB is just you can just as easily get a USB-C to micro USB adapter.
Well, you can also get a a USB-C to Lightning.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's super cheap because USB is, in its sense, universal.
Yeah.
Because that's what USB stands for. It's universal
generic.
serial bus.
Everyone uses it, and the only real difference that you can do to stay within the spec is make the wire thicker, basically. So that's really the only deal that you have to worry about when it comes to USB-C cables is like how much power can it actually transfer, and that's based on how thick it is, and it has to be like a minimum size. So you'll at least get like slow charging speeds and stuff. But the issue with Apple and the EU is that they've been at this fight for a while, and it's really been kind of up in the air. Is Apple going to like still use their proprietary cable? Obviously, they were trying to make that like a standard.
Recently, they just released their new power brick with the cable that you have to actually plug in, not via USB. It's just through it's Lightning, isn't it? Because Lightning and Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt's USB-C, and Lightning is Apple's proprietary version.
Yeah,
so,
which is basically the same thing, but just slightly different.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does almost all the same specs.
It's data. It does data power.
Yeah.
It does.
And to the same level too.
Yeah.
It's just it's literally
just
like
a different connector.
The Lightning cable is just a USB-C but inverted.
Yep.
Like it takes the connector that you have in your phone and puts it on the cable, and where it does the opposite with USB-C. So it actually is something where I think USB-C is designed to fail at the cable, or is it designed to fail at the connector? I can't remember which.
I think it's designed to fail at the cable. And
Right. So that way.
Then Lightning's fail at the connector.
Yeah. Right.
So.
I wonder why.
Because with USB-C, it's like a reinforced steel cage that you have at the end of that cable. You are not breaking that thing. So yeah.
But
this is what we have to deal with whenever that's what this is specifically the EU we're talking about, not the UK.
Yeah, but the thing is that this is going to affect globally as well.
But this is a thing they're signing into law because if somebody were to take their, let's say, iPhone from Europe and then import it to America or vice versa, they'd be out of luck. Like, hey, I need an Apple charger. It's your Apple charger. Well, this is not the correct one. It's USB-C or.
But it's Apple
Lightning.
only makes one phone. It's not like they make a different phone for every country. So naturally, that means that if they're going to service all of the EU, that's a lot of countries, and a big part.
They're going to have
of
to
their
standardize.
Market. Yeah, they're going to have to standardize.
Or pull out of the market in the EU, and that's going to cost them.
And that's not going to happen.
So
basically, it's forcing their hand, and it's the way that kind of global politics can affect tech on a global scale. Because you can have any country say that, we want it to be done this way, and depending on the size of that market, it affects how they approach it. And so in this instance, obviously, Apple's going to just make USB-C. But the thing is that from what I understand, they've been talking about that for a while anyway. So
I mean, just because they've been talking about it doesn't mean that they're actually going to do it.
They'll talk about it forever.
Yeah,
but,
that's Apple.
It's going to be another few iterations probably, right?
I mean, the iPhone 13 is coming out this month or next month. So, and that's already supporting Lightning. So they're going to have to do a whole new refresh of their phones if they want to do anything close to what the EU wants them to do. So.
It's kind of a mess having the two different charging cable ecosystems. Anyway.
In the first place, it was a mess to even design for Apple.
So and it's really kind of bad because they just stepped outside of the standard to kind of do their own thing, hoping to basically make the standard themselves, and then everyone else follows with the actual standard, and now you have a massive section of the phone community that uses a completely different cable.
Yeah, it's going to be soon faded out of the service.
Yeah,
and
but that's a thing that takes years. right? Like it takes a
Absolutely, yeah.
long time for you to actually move through like legacy connectors. I mean, how many motherboards do you see that still have like PS2 ports?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the exact same
Well, I
thing.
mean, but there's a difference between PS2 ports and USB ports. Is the active? It's a different kind of cable in the first place.
Yeah, yeah,
But
but I mean, the
It's still old.
concept is still the same there, where it's all, keyboards at one point used PS2
Mm-hmm.
to connect, and then now they don't, but you still have that connector just in case for legacy reasons.
And you have
So
adapters.
you'll forever have lightning cables floating around out there in the
Yep.
world because of this.
And the weird thing is too is that you can only really get lightning cables reliably from Apple themselves. Whereas USB-C or any USB, for instance, because it's universal, you can get it from third-party vendors or
Yeah.
even the phone company that you buy your phone from. It's quite universal.
Yeah, don't buy your cables from
Yep.
like Verizon or whatever though.
Just
That
get them
doesn't make any
online. You
sense.
can literally get them manufactured
Yeah.
like super cheap for cents. So
Yeah.
and they do exactly the same.
Which, an interesting point on like USB cables is that they are handmade.
Yeah.
Like every single
Absolutely.
one of those, you had a person put those cables where they go. It
Mm-hmm.
can't be machined reliably at a good enough price
Yep.
because of how intricate and how small the wires are. And USB-C has a lot more connections than standard USB.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it's so fast.
Yeah. But it has become really cheap.
Yep.
And it's a cool move,
Yeah,
I think,
you
on
have
the
somebody
EU's
to-
part.
Yeah.
So, final topics of the day. We
Oh,
want
we're
to
moving on.
talk about get away from all this boring right to repair.
Yeah.
Who cares about that? Let's talk about cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Back to your,
My favorite
your
stuff.
home topic. Yeah.
So I've got two things. We got Twitter
Yep.
and we've got Robinhood.
Oh, you didn't come in here with a Robin Hood.
Oh yeah,
Story.
I'm throwing you a curveball here,
okay.
Jib.
All right.
You won't know what to do.
I gotta catch this.
So we'll talk about Twitter first because
Okay.
you know about that.
I've known for a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at you with your secret insider information.
I just watch the news.
Well, so it's actually happening now, unlike when you heard about it.
Yep.
So I have the breaking story. Twitter is actually going to let people do app tipping with Bitcoin. So you can actually tip another user, just send them Bitcoin to their Twitter account.
So kind of like Reddit, but this time Bitcoin instead
Yeah.
of Reddit gold or silver.
Yeah, that's actually kind of the same concept. But yeah, so you just actually send somebody a couple bits or whatever,
Some
few
Satoshis.
Satoshis.
Yep.
Yeah. Couple micro pennies. And
Here, have this. It might
I think
grow.
that's cool.
It might grow 10,000% next year. Who knows?
But really, what
I'm
this-
investing in you.
Yeah. But what it's really going to be, right, is people sending stuff to their favorite content creators
Yeah.
or whatever else.
If you like this video, drop us a Bitcoin down below.
Yeah. Send me money,
Yeah.
please. We'll have here's our Bitcoin address. So, but that's kind of what it'll work out as on Twitter, is that you'll have a Bitcoin account, and it makes a lot of sense too, considering that Jack Dorsey, head of Twitter, also has his own kind of Bitcoin ecosystem venture going on with Cash App and Square. So, it's right in there. The second one though, Robinhood, finally, after all of this time, actually adding cryptocurrency wallets, where you can take your cryptocurrency in and out.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. This whole time,
So you can
they've
buy
had
it on Robinhood now, and you can
Yeah.
finally transfer your
Take it away.
cryptocurrency out of Robinhood.
I don't know if you can do it actively right now, but
That's
they've at
something
least
that they're
announced it. Yeah.
developing.
Yeah.
It's crazy because literally every other exchange on any platform has their own wallet.
Not PayPal.
Not PayPal?
No,
Well,
no,
PayPal is a wallet.
PayPal's not. No, let's not talk about PayPal.
Yeah, okay. That's a can of worms.
Yeah, that's a whole. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
So with you got Robinhood actually finally opening up their ecosystem.
That kind of seems
putting-
like a no-brainer on their part.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I think in the beginning, part of what they were doing is just kind of collecting it all, right? It's something I think I talked about before. With
Yeah, need to-
PayPal was accepting Bitcoin, but you could only buy it from them, and then when you sold it, PayPal was just buying it back from you.
Yeah, basically
So
just get free money for people investing in them?
You have to build out a reserve,
Yeah.
right, before you can actually allow deposits and withdrawals, because you actually have to have the amount of cryptocurrency people had. So maybe up until this point, Robinhood has only had just so much Bitcoin, and not everybody could possibly withdraw it. But of course, you could sell it to Robinhood because they've got cash.
It's kind of weird though, considering the fact
yeah.
that they're an investing platform, and you'd think that they just, throw over some of their, commission fees into Bitcoin. But I suppose it's more efficient for them to just,
Well,
do.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they bought plenty of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
but they're also going to make money off of their customers because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are no commission, but they do make money off of, selling trade information,
Yeah.
doing quote unquote front running, that kind of stuff that they have kind of gotten in trouble with in the
Yeah.
past. But in this instance, they're finally going to open it up. And that's kind of an issue I've had with Robinhood personally, is that you can buy your cryptocurrencies there, but what's it matter if you can't actually send it to someone?
I think the only reason that I ever started a Robinhood account was to get cryptocurrency. I ended up not using it because it didn't have a wallet, and I
Yeah,
couldn't
right.
trade it out of Robinhood.
Ooh, another topic.
Oh, no.
Another real quick one. We'll be really fast on that. Coinbase
Yeah.
is not going to do USDC lending. Which is they got again some trouble with like the FTC or something like that, saying like, hey, you can't give people interest for stuff. You're not a bank.
You can't
So-
earn interest on
Yeah, their USDC is a stable coin.
a
Right? It's
United States dollar coin.
Yeah, it's literally like $1 is one coin.
It's pegged to $1.
Yeah, so it doesn't really shift. You
Yeah.
can use that to like trade against. So they were going to allow people to borrow, like get loans basically, but for trading. So the point being that like you can like buy more cryptocurrency with that, trade to whatever, and then in the end, if you like lose out on your trade, they just take it back from you. And so you could take your money, put it into that, and then loan it out to people and make a better interest.
Yep.
And it's basically the same thing that big banks do with your money
Yep.
in savings accounts. They just don't like actively let you decide when or what you want to do
And
with
you
it.
just get 7 cents per year.
Yeah, whatever
but I
it
mean,
is.
But
But
still money at the end of the
but
day.
that's not happening.
No.
So, yeah, and that's our podcast.
And we're at a loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good one, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah. Thank you for the topics, Jeremy. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
So bye.